Welcome, everybody. This is the CyphaDen chat. I'm your host, Tayamu Denku. Momentarily, my homie Pestilence will be joining us, but tonight, special guests all the way from out in Minot, North Dakota. The homie Dakotah Faye in the building. What's going on?
Yes, sir. What's happening, man?
What is going on, man? I was just out there, man.
I know, and I wasn't.
And you were not. And you were actually in Fargo when I was out there. Well, actually, you were in. I heard you were in Fargo for a little bit because you were with Duro.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that, and then you ended up rocking with New Rain, right?
Yep.
Somewhere like on the day
on Saturday. So the day after you're in Minot, when you're in Bismarck, I just went to Fargo to cut that drive in half because it was an early show. I had to play at like 3:30. Sound check was supposed to be at noon, but you know that never happened. You know how that goes sometimes. But so I just want to be out there and not driving all day because it seems like every weekend that's what it is. You know, I'm out on the road, I'm driving, you know, getting to all these places. Being from Minot, North Dakota, you know, I got to expand and get out on the road. So yeah, I was out in Fargo for a little bit doing a little studio sesh with Duro, working on some stuff, and then the next day I was out in Sioux Falls playing at the Levitt for all my relatives festival, which was incredible. All these dope Native American artists, fashion show, just dope MCs all around. It was an incredible show, incredible venue. So yeah, it was dope. And I heard yours wasn't, you know, a little foam party. You guys had a little mishaps, you know, a little wind, a little craziness, but you still rocked it and you still, you know, showed Minot what was you know, true MC work. So I appreciate that. Keeping it alive.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I had people come up to me after the show, telling me, "Man, we need more of this shit,"
Yeah.
and like how they dug my shit. So it's always good feeling that way. But I'm not gonna lie to you, man. When I came outside from setting up my merch from inside, because we had the merch inside, because I don't want my merch blowing around. I don't want foam getting on my merch. Like
Right.
there was like a whole lot of weird shit going on, and then once I step outside, there's just like this giant blob. I've never been to a foam party in my life. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was going on. Now I walk outside and there's this gigantic blob of bubbles just off in this corner. Just kind of it literally looked like a bubble version of the movie The Blob. I don't know if you ever seen The Blob, but
Oh yeah.
like it looked like that. And then there's like random just people running through it and going through it, and then it's like sticking to their clothes, and then like if the bubbles go over the top of my shoe, now I got dirt on my fucking Jordans. Like it's like a thing, man. And
Great in like it as an idea, but in actual execution, you're like, this isn't as cool as I thought it was gonna be.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that will be the only time I ever play a foam party in my life. If there's another time, I mean, bro, I'm old. I'm like 43 right now, and I've made it this far in my life to have never gone to a foam party. And then 43, I've played a hip hop show mixed with a foam party. Like I said, it probably will never happen again. But if it does, it might be Minot. You never know.
I'll tell you this right now, Denku. If we get you back in Minot, I will not subject you to another phone party. We will get it rocking. I promise you that. We will. I will. I'm personally going to see it out that we redeem it and we do something else in Minot next time you're on the road.
Word up. Callie actually told us, you know, we dipped out. Me and the homie Jance dipped out and got some food after they moved things inside and pretty much ended the night with a DJ party. But your DJ Callie told us that the night basically ended with someone pulling a knife on somebody else.
I didn't even hear this. I need to talk to him ASAP because I did not. He didn't even mention that to me. I asked him how it went, and he was like, "Yeah, man, it was great." So I don't know. I need to chat. Yeah, I need to hear that story.
Yeah, he broke it down. He said, "Yeah, at the end of the night, you know, somebody pulled a knife out. You know, bullshit." We're like, what?
The way it is.
Someone pulled
They
a
happen.
knife out? What the fuck?
Magic City, man.
Yeah, man. But yeah, uh, I also got a little bit of history lesson on Minot, which I was not really super familiar with. I mean, we probably had those conversations when I was back there in 2018, maybe. I don't really know, man. I remember in 2018 when I came out there. Um, I guess I don't really remember the conversations, but I remember staying at your crib at the time. Um, Basically getting put on to Brickleberry, which I've showed mad people after that, and then now I'm on my and crazy part, Jan stayed in the hotel with me in Minot,
Yeah.
and I put the Netflix on. I was like, "Hey, you remember Brickleberry?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know. Is that the Park Ranger joint?" I was like, "Yeah, we watched it at Dakotah's crib." I was like, "I'm gonna show you the follow up to that shit. I'm gonna show you this shit." And then I threw on Paradise PD, and he was like, "Oh man." He had
Yep.
no idea what it was. He was like, "What is this?" I was like, "Yeah, man, this is what it is."
Right. That's right, man.
Yeah.
Great.
So yeah, the Brickleberry shit, and then 3 hours of basketball before playing the Blue Rider. I think right. That's the
Yep.
venue, Blue Rider.
Yep.
And then we rocked that, and then back to your crib to pass out, and then some of the longest drives
Yeah.
in
We're
my
in the middle
entire
of
life.
for sure. We're North Dakota is the middle of nowhere, and we're in the middle of nowhere in the middle of nowhere. It's just the way it is. I don't know why, but I don't know who would inhabit this land, but here we are.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I got some history lessons. So I didn't know about the flooding
Yeah,
that happened there.
2011.
Is that's when it was?
Yeah.
Because then I saw the buildup of the I don't it's like supposed to
Oh, the flood wall. Yeah, they along the river. They literally just finished that maybe a couple years ago. So it took them, over a decade to get that done.
yeah, because it all came up when me and Jance were rolling through downtown. He went into Main Street Books because
Yep.
apparently he's playing a show there at some point
Yeah.
on his upcoming tour. And he was telling me as we're driving up the hill, he's like, yeah, these are I've played shows in pretty much all these buildings. I was like, what? All these buildings? He's like, yeah, well, a lot of these buildings, they got fucked up in the flood shit. And I'm like, what? I was like, well, when the fuck did that happen? Like, that's crazy. And then like I had never known the history, and he kind of broke it down a little bit, but yeah. So have you always been in Minot? Did you grow up there?
I
Here?
did. I did. So I was my family's originally from Williston, North Dakota, which is 2 hours west, oil field country, all that. But me and my mom moved out to Minot when I was like 2 years old, and I've lived here ever since and went to school here and still live here now. So it was pretty crazy. So it was 2011. It was my summer of my junior year going into my senior year. We flooded like this is all Canada's fault. Blame Canada, the South Park song. This is like our national anthem up here because they kept what happened is the Mouse River that flows through Minot is goes all the way up to Canada, and they release water periodically when they flood up there, but they're supposed to do it in a very small increments to make sure that we don't flood. Well, that wasn't the case. And we had a little bit of a scare where they warned us like, oh, everyone has to evacuate, and then it didn't flood. And so everybody went home. And then it happened a second time. We got another warning of like, okay, everybody has to evacuate now. And a lot of people didn't take it as serious. So a lot of people left their stuff. And yeah, we flooded. I mean, there's houses down there, down because we're built in the valley too. So it was just completely bad for the, 50% of our city. I mean, water was up 15 feet like in the valley, so houses, all these old neighborhoods, downtown, the entire city was gone, you know what I mean? And it was crazy because a lot of people you were kind of separated, north side of town, south side of town. There was one bypass that you could take to get from north side to south side. And if you had to go up to the north side of town, you were on that bypass in traffic for hours and hours and hours. And my mom we lived on the south side. And my mom worked on the north side, and she had to take a bus to Bismarck just to work during that time. And
Man.
School was late because this happened in June, early June. It all subsided probably a couple months later, and school was late. We started late, and it was just kind of the whole city, you know, coming together to clean up and volunteer. And a lot of people were displaced into these big FEMA, trailer parks where they had all the FEMA trailers, displaced people and all that. Me and my mom still lives in the exact same apartment that we moved to Minot in. And right after the flood, I think 8 or 9 people staying in my 2-bedroom apartment for, the good 6 months, six,
Damn.
7 months. So it was crazy, man. And there's still effects of that today. You go down to these like older neighborhoods down in the valley part of Minot, and they're just completely empty now. There's no houses. There's a lot of these schools, and a lot of it did rebuild, but yeah, it was it took out our whole city, man, and it had ramifications for many, many years.
So you're in high school at this time. Where I mean, mine not being just I mean, it's its own world. It's like middle of nowhere, nothing really there. Like you're not I mean, Bismarck's like 2 hours south.
Right.
Like there's some things and then you got like Minot, it's its own place. How do you find hip hop in a city like that?
My mother was a huge introduced me to hip hop at a very early age. And I was always just enamored with them because I was a very quiet, introverted, only child. So I was very quiet. I wrote poetry and I always loved rap music. So it was just, I wanted to emulate those guys. They were so cool. They were, you know, everything about them, the swagger, the confidence, just the bling, the jewelry, everything about them was just something that I strived to be. Because I always knew that I had the confidence, but I just didn't know how to show it. So hip hop was, and I studied the greats, and I'm a huge hip hop head student, always first. But the thing about Minot is we're kind of in the middle of nowhere, but we're very diverse because we have an Air Force base. That's like one of the main things about us. If you ask any Air Force person where's like the worst place to get stationed to, they'll say Minot. But because of that and the oil field, we have tons of diversity, tons of people from all over the country, nationalities come up here. So it's kind of a melting pot in a weird way. And when I was young, I met my brother Eddie Mack when we were about 12 years old. He lived down the street from me, and he had come from Milwaukee, and he had rapped back there. And he had his mom. It was him and his mom, and they always had people coming through and staying with them. All these older cats, and all of them rapped for the most part. So this was right around the time 2008, 2009, when you could get a webcam microphone and you could get a little laptop and figure some shit out with I was using Mixcraft back then. That was like a free DAW that I was using back then, but just
Never heard of
bro, I don't even know if it's still a thing. I don't even know if it's still a thing, but we was rocking with that, and had older cats that would freestyle and make music. They were a lot of cats from Augusta, Georgia. Some OGs of mine,
it.
Slim, aka these guys would just sit there and rap and make music. And I finally got the confidence to get on a song. Eddie was like, "Yo, I got this track. You want to jump on it?" And I was like, "Sure." And fell in love from that day on, and it just consumed my life. I was like 12 years old, and my teachers hated me from that day on because all I did was write raps in class. I didn't give a fuck about nothing else, and I was just delusional from that moment on. I found my thing, and then yeah, from there it just took off. I kind of did it for just in high school, passing out CDs. Finally started to get a little at this point, I still wasn't like rapping for people in public. I was still very much scared to like. People knew I rapped in school, so like, oh, freestyle, you know what I mean, or be at a party, and I'm like, nah, nah, nah. But over the years, I kind of got more confident, making more music, and did music for 4 years. Got out of high school, and I met my homie Reddy, who we still do music to this day, and he gave us the confidence to go do shows. He's a couple years older, so we started doing shows, and it just snowballed for there. Then I realized, it went from just like this small, contained in the city, passing out CDs, knowing the people I know, to oh, we have a scene in North Dakota, and all these rappers, Kip G and Charlie Mizza, and Tony the Butcher, and all these OGs, guys that I so I started learning more. I met Jansonia, I met Cold Sweat, Zen people, all these people started doing shows, and then then we started packing into the cars and going different states, and it just snowballed into this thing, and just never stopped. It's been a hell of a 16 years. I'm 31, so I've wrapped more of my life than I haven't, and it's pretty crazy to think about it like that. But hip hop has given me so much just for myself, and I truly appreciate the culture and what it means, to spread knowledge and appreciate the OGs and everything that comes before you, and to pave your own way. Try to do that for North Dakota, and in my own way. But um I don't know. I seeked out hip hop a little bit, but I think it found me too.
I feel that, man. Well, real quick, this is my homie Pestilence down here. You could see him now. He's
Oh
he's
yeah.
in he's in the building. He's in the building. Pest, we were gonna wait, but I was like, I can't wait. I can't wait for him. He's just gonna pop in at some point.
That's fine.
Yeah, yeah. So now that you're in here, I mean, I've been asking to wait. You got something for Dakota after hearing him break that down?
Yeah, I'm gonna totally derail everything and
Oh yeah.
ask if either of you saw Rampage Jackson's son
Oh my God.
in
Yes.
that wrestling shoot.
Yes, dude. Oh,
What do you guys think about that? Do you think it was warranted receipt, or do you think he went a little fucking overboard with that?
well, I just seen the clip where the dude apologized to him before, when they were setting that spot up. He was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were a worker, all this." And they apologized, the handshake. And then after that, they set up the spot where he's like, "All right, you're gonna get, you can jump in the ring and get him back or whatever." He's sitting on the side and he's like, "Fuck that. I'm hitting him for real. I'm hitting him for real." So I don't know. I don't know, man. As a big wrestling fan, I get like the work and working it into the match and stuff, but I mean, he knocked the dude out cold and then punched him. I don't even know how many times.
I
I
think it
didn't
was at
even
least 20
I
punches.
I
Yeah.
didn't even see this, bro. Now I'm gonna have to look it up after the
Oh,
podcast. I didn't
Bro,
see it.
it is. There was a guy. So what happened was, it was a independent wrestling promotion. A very veteran dude who is actually a military veteran. Had a worked can. They kind of crush it a little bit, and he went and he crushed it on the guy's head, and it was Rampage's son. And then he later found out he wasn't part of the promotion, so he apologized to him, and Raja accepted the apology. It seemed like everything was cool. And then the promoter was like, "Hey, it'd be cool if because people saw this clip, if you got in the ring and hit him a couple times. And he not only hit him, he hit him at least 15 to 20 times while he was knocked stone cold unconscious as hard as he could.
yeah.
It
Oh
was
shit. That's crazy.
it was horrific.
It really was.
He probably is going to end up getting some kind of a charge. I'd be shocked if there's not a some kind of assault charge.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Well, damn, I'm gonna have to check that clip after this shit. Wow. So I don't really have input on it, bro, because I haven't seen it yet. But
You didn't see it yet, no. Well,
that's
yeah,
crazy.
it was a wild event.
It really was. Yeah.
Word up, word up. So Dakota, man, you are somewhat viral on this TikTok shit. Now, here's the thing. You do it the way I feel like people should do it. Like you actually have talent and are getting viral on the TikTok shit. Whereas there's actually people I know personally that are mad viral and have no talent whatsoever. And they're like super viral. And then like people with talent don't get as viral, but you found a way. So how does this even happen? Because
So
I'm confused. I don't know nothing about it, bro.
I, as independent artists, we've been on, had to have at least had a little piece on every app that's ever existed or every single platform just to see if people are on it. We got to be on it and figure it out. And I was very skeptical of TikTok for a long time. I was just like, whatever. I thought it came from the Musically thing where people were just lip syncing songs and all that, which it still kind of is. But you're like, oh, this is this kid platform or whatever. But 2020, we all had a lot of time to do stuff because we're in the house. And I was finally like, all right, man, I was working on music. I didn't really have nothing else to do. I was like, fuck it. I'll I'll get on the camera and record some verses or talking pieces or whatever. And I've never seen growth on any other social media platform like TikTok. It is it can be a pain in the ass, we didn't come into, being MCs wanting to be fucking content creators and all, have to do all the extra bullshit or whatever. We just want to express our art and all that. But I've learned to love it. I've really learned to enjoy finding new creative ways to with visuals to express the rap and the music and stuff like that. And it's also a great way to just talk to the fan base and get to connect with people, just doing these talking pieces and kind of just, I feel like those are the ones that really hit the most. I found a direction to kind of funnel everything into music. So even the stuff that's not performance videos or whatever the case is, it's talking videos where I'm telling a story about music, or I'm talking about, I'm trying to keep the people that see my videos into a certain lane. You see a lot of people that will blow up from doing like comedy videos, and then they try to switch over to like doing music stuff, and their fan bases just don't give a shit, because you're building yourself on this platform of, skits or whatever, and then trying to segue that into your music doesn't really work. So I've really focused on, and it's a little bit slower of a building and growing, but I really want to build that fan base for knowing me for music. So it's it's been it's, I wouldn't say a struggle, because it's not. I've learned to, with anything, you get better with it at time, you get more efficient with it, making videos, editing videos. I'm starting to actually enjoy that stuff. I've always mixed and engineered my own music, so editing videos and stuff like that is just something that comes second nature to me too. I'm not saying I'm the best at it, but I quite enjoy it, and I found a rhythm of it. And yeah, I've learned to love the expression in a different form, the visual form. So it can be a pain in the ass, and we don't always want to be content creators, but I haven't seen a growth in my career like I have in the last 2-3 years because of TikTok. So sometimes you got to play the game to win the game.
Feel it, man. Pest, you got something?
How does the TikTok like apply? Because the one thing I've seen pretty consistently, and there is somebody in mind that I have that is kind of hits that bill of like kind of what both of you guys said, the like doesn't have a ton of talent behind it, and it is also building using kind of a different thing, but then is like going and touring and trying to do the music thing as well, and
Right.
it's not really paying off. Um, I've also looked and seen that a lot of people that I've seen on TikTok that are very big don't seem to translate that to the other platforms. Now, has that translated to your other platforms for you, or is it primarily like you're big on TikTok, that's kind of the hive that you have to feed?
Yeah, yes and no. I've definitely had people cross over to other platforms just naturally, because I am so music centric that people do go to my YouTube from TikTok, or they do go to my Spotify, they do go to all my music platforms. As far as like go over to like Instagram and Facebook, not really. But I cannot tell you how many people say I know you from TikTok, which is like it's a double-edged sword. Like it's cool because that's where people know me and I'm recognizable because of that. It's also like, oh, you know me from TikTok, like okay, all right. But it is what it is. And um yeah, it's translated a little bit, but yeah, there's so many people that you see have millions of followers on TikTok, and then you go to like their Instagram or even their Spotify, and they have a fraction of that. So that's why I really focus on keeping everything in the music, over this huge umbrella of I do music, because I don't want people to go outside of that and get a fan base that's doesn't give a fuck about any of the actual stuff that I do for a living.
Yeah, man. Um, there's a story uh that I always think about when I think of uh like Pestilence mentioned, the non-talented people that have like this huge buzz, right? And when I was at 100 Mad Fest, we were having this conversation. I think me and what's his name, Dylan Porter. I think I might be fucking that up. I think me and Dylan Porter were having a conversation outside with Elder Sensei about how he was overseas with Gavilan doing a run, a tour run, and they were opening up for some viral TikTok rapper that was on tour. And they popped into his set, and all he did for a straight 15 to 20-minute set, and he was the headline, by the way, because people knew him because he was super viral on the TikTok shit off of like some 30-second clips, right? He was repeating the 30-second clips over and over and over for his live show because that's all anybody knew. And they went crazy over his 30-second clips. But then he didn't even attempt, I guess, to go into anything else. Like all he did was his 30-second clips from TikTok. And like these people popped in and saw it and they were like, what the fuck is this shit?
What was the
And
crowd reaction?
they loved it.
What?
They loved it because they knew that shit. So it's like young kids fucking with this dude, and
right.
they're singing every word to the 30-second clip, and then they're like, do it again. And then it's again.
Oh, ew.
The
Yeah,
short
bro.
attention span, man.
That's the world we're in. That's
Yeah.
the world we're in, bro.
30-second clips. That's what it is.
I got to change my shit up. Pest, we're not doing full verses no more, bro. We're doing 12
I
bar
don't
verses, and
I don't give a
we're just
fuck,
gonna
bro.
stick to it. We're gonna stick
I
to
don't
it.
give a fuck.
12 bar verses is where we're going. Next year
I ain't doing it.
it's all about 12 bar verses. That's all it is.
I ain't not a I'm actually gonna go in the other direction, dude. I'm switching to this fuck 16s. I'm doing 64s now.
Yeah. Yeah. Straight bars, no hooks.
Yeah, no hooks, just bars. All every song, just fucking fuck you. Fuck you, TikTok rappers.
But they're in for a rude awakening because, you're so green. And you, like you said, you're in, it's a whole different realm. There's so many artists that I know that can record awesome, incredible music. And then when it comes to live performance, it is like a foreign language. It is such a different skill, and the skill gap is huge. It literally, this isn't something where, you can sit in your room and you can mix or whatever, and you can fuck with it. Like, you need hundreds of shows to actually get a grip on crowd reaction and, transitions and mic work and just talking to people on just projecting your damn voice on a microphone. And yeah, I mean, people.
I think it's even more than that, though. I mean, like, because I've done a lot of shows, I've seen a lot of people, and then I actually just last weekend we went down to Milwaukee and saw to see Atmosphere in Cypress Hill, and Lupe Fiasco was opening up for him. And there's so many different. And it's like I can't imagine a world where Lupe Fiasco hasn't performed hundreds of times over his life. Like he's definitely done a ton of shows. But the skill gap in entertainment and putting on a show between him and Atmosphere and Cypress Hill was so vast that when we went in there, we thought he was a local opener. That was bad.
Wow.
That was the thing where it was like, so I think it goes deeper into the like, you can do shows, but are you doing shows to get a paycheck? Are you doing shows to have an image, or are you doing shows because you love the art of the live performance and you want to cultivate something special and you respect that feeling you get when you go to a show and someone's special and they fucking do something awesome and you're like, holy shit, and you want to start doing that. And I think there's a big gap and there's a big difference between those people in column A and then column B. But I also do see the paradigm shifting back in the overall culture where people are kind of getting sick of repetitive, talentless junk to a certain degree and are starting to appreciate things like the live band freestyle fucking gods and the fucking people that can really fucking do stuff on the mic and even between their songs can hold the crowd's attention and not make them feel like they're wasting their time by staying in there.
I agree. I agree. And that's crazy because Lupe is one of my favorites. So to hear that, man, it is crazy because I don't know. I think I hope, maybe some people they get to a point in their career where they just feel like there's no room for improvement. Maybe, the ego head bubble bursts a little bit and
Right.
you're like, all right, I made it, I can do the same old song and dance for the rest of my career. And it's like you should always
Well,
want.
let me ask you this as somebody that's a big fan of Lupe, because you're the first person that I've gotten to talk to about this that is already like, I had respect for him. Like, I've always, like, I haven't dug deep into his catalog or anything like that, but I've listened to some songs. I fucking Kick Pushes on my fucking monthly playlist for the event I DJ, that comes on, like, I respect what he does, and I know he's very lyrical, and I've heard him do really awesome stuff on tracks. What he did for this show was exclusively the mainstream hits he was a part of. Not There was not a single underground or lyrical song that he did. It was all like Superstar,
Right.
uh,
Show
classic, stuff like that.
I,
yeah.
Yes, Show Goes On, all those songs.
real quick, I like Superstar, by the way. I just want to say that. Okay, go ahead.
I think the
But
cool
I'm saying, like,
I think the cool is best album. But it sucks because playing a show with someone like Atmosphere and Cypress Hill, this crowd doesn't give a fuck about your hits. They want that lyrical, that hip hop shit, So I don't feel maybe he felt like nobody would know who he was if he didn't play the mainstream hits, I guess, which is a shame.
Also, real quick,
right, I agree.
Far Side was also on it. So you got three
Oh,
legendary
yeah.
other
Yes.
groups, and then you're doing this shit.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I saw it go all the way around. Okay, so we got there late. We didn't get to see Farside's show. I can't imagine a world in which their show wasn't dope. Atmosphere was incredible. Slug was, and I knew this. I know Slug can put on a great show. He seemed like he was like his freestyle was a particularly good one. It seemed like he really had it, and he was really comfortable, which makes sense. They're from Minneapolis. It's Milwaukee. He's probably played there a ton. And then Cypress Hill was special, like they did the full fucking scope, DJ, drummers, fucking everything. They were commanding everything, and I'm not even the biggest fan of I respect them. I like some songs, but like never been the hugest fan. I was stunned. I was like, this is awesome. These guys are fucking top tier performers, like nothing but the utmost respect. Um, and I felt the same way with like seeing him not do kind of like hey, I'm with these guys that are clearly just skilled people and they're selling the ticket. Their people are coming out to see these guys on this tour here. Obviously, they appreciate a certain level of craftsmanship on the mic. So the fear of doing like, I know he has lyrical songs. I know he has stuff that would fit in. I know he has like a vibe that he could do that. He felt out of place, uncomfortable, and it also reflected on like the end of the night. I bought an Atmosphere shirt. It took me like 20 minutes to buy it. There were so many people in line. Every table had people in line except for his. His didn't even have somebody manning it at that point. It was dead the whole. I never saw somebody buy anything from his table.
Holy shit!
Yes.
It's the crazy thing about that is it hurt Jance's whole soul too. I told Jance about how you felt about Lupe and what Lupe was doing, and Jance was like, "No, bro, for real." Because apparently Jance is also a huge Lupe fan. Dakota,
I was shocked.
you
I
know
was
this
shocked.
too? Yes.
And this is one show, so I can't speak on like this is how he is every fucking time he does. Like maybe he does have a fucking really dope stage and it was an off night and he didn't feel comfortable and he was in Milwaukee and he didn't know the people and thought it's a club scene, let me do all these hits and this will go well. I don't know. I don't know what went through the beforehand, but all I know is what I saw and I was very disappointed.
That's a shame. That really is because it could also be because I'll give an example of like situations that I have. Like I play at my best with my boys. When I got my DJ, I got my hype man, I got my team, my wife there selling merch. I feel more comfortable. And he's on these shows with all these legendary groups that have have been playing together and doing these shows for 30 fucking years. And maybe he just he was in an uncomfortable, like you said, uncomfortable situation. Maybe he didn't have his right people there, whatever the case is, and felt like kind of isolated, lonely on an island. He's like, all right, these people are only going to know who I am if I play these big hits. And, it sucks. It really does. Cause I do think that Lupe is a very underappreciated rapper. And, maybe he got the short end of the stick in some aspects of his career early on. But yeah, it can really shift your whole performance. Just those little things like that, just comfortability and you know, being around a team. A team is very important, I think. Just having the people around you that you trust the most and can kind of get you out of those mind states where you're like, oh man, maybe I should only play the hits. And then no, you got your boy like, nah, man, they want to hear that shit.
Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe.
no, and that's how I've always looked at it, like as far as performing goes, is like, and I try to tell people now that we do weekly jams at my roommate owns a venue. We do weekly jam sessions there. I got a lot of young MCs coming up asking me, how do I do this? How do I learn that? I want to sound like this guy. I want to sound like that guy. And, should I do this? Should I do that? And I always ask them the question like, well, what's your motivation for trying to sound a certain way? Is that who you are? Is that how you feel? If it is, water it. Water that seed and grow it. But if you're not that person, you're going to be miserable eventually. You're going to be miserable. You're going to feel stuck. You're going to be uncomfortable, and it's going to corrupt everything you do. The number one thing is just to be yourself and you find the people that appreciate you, not who you're trying to be or what you're trying to show them.
Well, unless they're in it for, you know, people are in
Oh yeah,
people are in music for different things. Not many people, pests, are in it for the art form. They're in it so they can fucking be famous and
that's
imitate
beautiful. I'm
start.
glad you brought that up, Denku, because I have advice for those people too. And this is the advice I have for those people. It's a lot harder to make money on the music. If you're trying to be famous and rich, you're way better off, and it's probably a lot easier going down to your local Walgreens, getting some fucking throat lozenges, setting up on the fucking corner and sucking some dick for a living. You'll make way more money. You'll be way more famous in your fucking hometown. Everybody will fucking know who you are. You rapping over your vocals at these local sets that you're paying $400 for, dude, you're coming out behind. But if you set up on the fucking corner and got real good at your craft, took care of your throat, got some longevity in the game, you'd be able to stack them papers and
Let
you'd be famous. I'm just
let
saying.
be legendary.
And
Yeah,
that's the fucking clip right there. Jesus Christ. Cause that's fucking hilarious. That shit is hilarious. But all right. I don't even want to. We're not even going here no more. Cause that shit just got crazy as fuck. Dakotah, uh, you have crazy experience with shows. I just saw that you rocked one of the biggest fucking events ever, bro. Lots of people there. You got a chance to rock Sturgis. Tell me how that was. Give me that experience.
unbelievable. And to rock it with a legend as Tech Nine is, especially as an independent artist, biggest independent label in the world. This isn't my first time getting to play with Tech, but yeah, man, it just felt like like everything that I worked towards especially the last 3 years since I got sober, just been more focused and energy and on a certain, I have purpose with music now. For a long time, I did appreciate the craft. It was therapeutic. Like I said, I was an introverted kid. I did music because it was my way to talk and get my shit out. But you get a little taste of people bigging you up, and you want to be famous, and you want to be all this and and this and that. And I kind of lost myself for a long time. And getting sober and hitting reality and seeing how much bullshit I fucked up with friends and family because of my selfish ways really gave me a newfound purpose of wanting to help others with my platform and my music, because music saved my life. So being able to maybe be that for other people. And that show, I remember 6 months ago getting that email like, hey, you want to do this show, and just, man, screaming out. I walked outside, I was at work, and just screamed, man, like, I fucking deserve this, you know what I mean? And I was very lucky and very blessed. But it was that moment of like, all right, I'm on the right fucking path. This shit is starting to click, and people are noticing. And it was a nice confidence boost. But it's not something I took lightly. We rehearse twice a week for almost 6 months, making sure that we were right and ready to go. And I think we crushed it, man. And I do have a funny story about it though. So we've been building up our own like vocal stack backline stuff, in ears, wireless. I have my own like tube compressor and stuff on my microphone, and trying to get the that setup nice, so any show that I play, I can have my setup right. Well, we're still learning our in ears, and they were offside stage, and we didn't get to sound check because tech was late, and the band before us had to like sound check right before they played, so we didn't get to sound check. And we get on stage, and my in ears, there was no monitors because tech had the monitors and they took them off until he played or whatever, so there was nothing. Our in ears were cutting out every 2 seconds, so I had literally had no playback the entire hour set. And this was a 60-minute set, which is insane. Thank God we were outside, because we were inside and those outsides, facing out speakers were bouncing off anything, I wouldn't have been able to do it. But I think because of all the preparation, we just rocked it like we had playback the whole time. And I was very impressed with our whole team and everybody, not even phased by something that should have been very fucking catastrophic to our set, and rocked it, and people loved it. And I'm always big on respecting the venue and respecting the workers and everybody, the sound techs and the promoters and everybody, speaking to everybody. I've always been like that, even when I was young. And they loved us and they want to have us back. And yeah, it was. And then seeing tech, right, thinking we were tight, and then seeing tech go up there and fucking go insane with the live band. You're like, all right, there's levels to this. I still need to keep working. You know what I mean? It was kind of that cool down moment of like, all right, but I still got to go back and work the next day.
Oh damn, Tech rock with a live band. I never seen him rock with a live band
He
before.
did. Yeah, I've seen him a few times, but that was the first time I seen him with he had the drummer, the guitar, bass. I think it was, he still had the backtrack, but he had him playing over with the live drums and shit. But it was dope. It was dope.
That's dope. Pest, you got something?
Yeah, outside of hip hop, what are there other passions? What fuels the content? Like obviously there's got to be other stuff in your life that you draw inspiration from, other passions, other things. I know, like for example, Denku's got mad collections of things. He's got mad figurines, he's got
Yeah,
mad like different collectibles. He's also big on like discovering every dope food spot wherever he's at.
Oh,
What are those things
it's
for you?
and that's coming, Dakota. That's coming.
right, for sure. I've seen the hip hop figurines. Those shits are so dope. I've seen a little taste on social media, but I'm very big into collecting video games, especially retro video games is my big like thing. I've always been a big video game head, so I do a lot of that, like collecting physical media. Big on movies. I get a lot of inspiration from movies, and like I said, I was an only child, so TV raised me for the most part. My mom was and a single parent, so my mom was at work and in college and doing all that shit. So when I get home, I sat in front of the TV, played video games, watched movies and all that shit, went and hung out with friends. And so I've always been big on doing stuff with my friends, but I'm also a pretty big hermit. I like to stay at home and kind of keep to myself. That's why I love recording alone. I don't like going to a studio. I'm not a big fan of going to the studio and hanging out with a million people and they smoking and bullshitting the whole time. You know what I mean? I'd rather
I
just
feel it.
put on some music, do it at my house, watch a movie, put a little movie on, maybe have it in the background. Yeah.
I feel that. So top three video games, top three movies. Let's go.
Oh, well, my favorite, so my favorite movie of all time used to be Pulp Fiction for a long
Oh,
time.
it's my favorite movie.
But I had the bad motherfucker wallet and everything. I'm a huge Tarantino fan. It's still my favorite Tarantino movie, though Jackie Brown is a close second. Any of the Tarantino movies, but Scott Pilgrim versus the World is probably my favorite movie of all time. It is very obscure and it's kind of a cult hit later on. Didn't do great right away, but I love Edgar Wright. His directing style is super, super sick. And I got to throw some animated in there. I mean, I was born in 1994, so The Lion King, Toy Story, those two were like classics in my household, and my mother had to hide the VHSs because I wanted to watch them so fucking much. She told me she had to take it back to the movie store. Really, it was just in the top of the fucking closet. And I was like, I want to watch Toy Story. So those are probably the three. They're always changing though. I see a new fucking movie. I just seen Superman was crazy, bro.
I love Superman.
That was one of the best. That by far the best Superman representation to me
dope.
in a movie. And I really, really loved it. I'm glad that DC finally got a banger, and I hope they continue to do that. But I love the comic.
James Gunn, the savior we didn't know we needed, man.
Yeah, exactly. When he saved the squirrel, I was like, okay, this is Superman. I was like, this is fucking Superman right here. Big fan of the superhero movies and all that stuff too.
Yes,
so
it's. I think his whole universe is gonna be cold, man. When it's all said and done. Because I mean, you saw how he already did, right? Like, did you watch the Creature Commando shit?
No, I did not.
So Creature Commandos was the first thing he put out, and that's animated, but the old Rick Flag, the guy that's in Superman, right?
Yeah.
So that's the guy that voices Rick Flag also in the animated. And then if anything goes back and forth between animated, they're keeping the same actors to voice all that shit. So they're all gonna be those characters. You know what I'm saying?
That's really dope. That's dope. And that's one thing that I've heard a lot about DC is their animated stuff is a lot better right now than their live action stuff, which I haven't gotten a
Oh,
chance.
it has been. Oh my God. The DC animated universe, like the Flashpoint series is fucking cold as fuck.
Yeah.
Their animated stuff's been good for years, but they'd never translated to live action till very recently.
Well, hopefully I like that idea of keeping the continuity between those as well. I think that's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay. Well, I don't want to get three, but favorite video game.
Oh my God, dude.
Why not? Why don't you give him three, bro?
Fine three. Top three. God damn.
So I played so many hours of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, like insane. Me and Eddie, man, we would play this shit for so much. But I love Castlevania Symphony of the Night from PS1. That was one of my favorite games of all time. It was one of the first like Metroidvania style, the genre of game where you have this big open castle that you can't get to certain paths. You got to go find a different power up, and then you can come back and do the different path. And I love the music in that game, and I love the art style. I'm a big fan. I grew up with the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo. So the 16-bit and those kind of graphics that they kind of strayed away from at the beginning of the 3D era. I love those games. Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I had a dream. I had the most fucked up, like, people would have the PS1 or like I had the Sega Saturn, which like nobody fucking had. You know what I mean? I had the Dreamcast. I had Turbo Graphics. Like I had all the shit that like nobody else had. I couldn't borrow games from my friends. They're like, what the fuck is that? Game Gear. What the fuck?
Hey, Game Gear was cold. I didn't have it. I always wanted it though.
Bro, it was color. It had the light up screen, but it literally would last an hour. I'd play.
It did not work
Sonic,
very well.
bro. I'd play Sonic for like an hour, and then I'm like, "Mom, I need more double A's." She's like, "I'm just getting you the fucking Game Boy because I can't. I'm paying. I'm paying off debt with these fucking double A batteries." So, but I'm always a big sport. I'm a big sports fan too. Atlanta, I love Atlanta Falcons. So Madden 04 with Michael Vick on the cover. That's a legendary game to me. So legendary that my cousins would never let me fucking play with the Atlanta Falcons because he was such a cheat code in those games.
I mean, you shouldn't ever let anybody play with him. It's like playing with Bo Jackson and Tecmo Bowl. It's
yes,
like, all right,
exactly. Those two and Pablo Sanchez from Backyard Baseball are like the most god level.
You give those to your little brother to like even the playing field.
For sure. But I loved hip hop and video game. Def Jam Fight for New York was one of my favorite games. Fuck Sean Paul. He was a fuck Sean. I got beef with Sean Paul forever. Can't fucking stand him, man.
Bro, what were they? What? How the fuck did they build Def Jam Fight for New York and then fuck up the whole world with Def Jam Icon? How do you do that?
God, it was so
How do you
bad.
do that?
It's so bad. Eddie pre-ordered this fucking game. We're so excited. We go get it. We beat it in literally 2 fucking hours. And I was like, that's it? That's the game? The whole like reversing the songs and shit.
Yeah.
Ah,
And they just had, I mean, bro, I don't want to fucking fight young
Jim,
Jeezy, bro.
Jim
Like, come
Jones.
on, son. I'm not I don't care about Jeezy. I
Low.
don't I don't care about E40, bro. I mean,
Oh,
E40 was cold back in the day, but I don't care
right.
about new E40.
No,
Come
no.
on, man.
The coolest thing about that game was the 106 in Park set level. I thought that was a really cool like idea for a level.
Yeah, but that's it. Everything else
That was
is
it, man.
trash. I just don't get how you do that. How do you go from Fight for New York, which basically had every legendary fucking MC hip hop icon in it, and then you put this shit out? How does that even happen? And that's why we never got another one, because that shit did so fucking bad
So bad.
that they just cut that shit off the shelf.
Well, not only did they have an incredible roster, but the game engine was Aki, which, if you know anything about wrestling games, they're the ones that made. I forgot. This is on my list. Hold on. Let me grab this. You want to talk about the greatest video game of all time? WWF No Mercy
Yeah,
is
that's a great one.
one of the greatest games ever. But the Aki engine, THQ, they had just a great wrestling game, and they put that's the they stopped making wrestling games, WWE games, and they made the Def Jam games, Vendetta and Fight for New York. So not only did it have awesome characters in it, but the gameplay was actually fucking good. So and I don't know what the fuck they did with Icon. A lot of those series that went from that generation of systems to 360, PS3, they had a rough time. I mean, as a sports fan, a lot of those Madden games fucking sucked because they had to take out so much shit. They were more focused on making it look pretty rather than actually having fun ass games.
People
Yeah, I
actually
agree.
said, I think Redman did an interview and they were asking him, somehow it got brought up, like the Def Jam games, the Fight for New York, and how can we get something like that now? And he was like, well, it's probably never gonna happen because licensing now is insane, and that the roster of people is long gone. Like
Yeah.
if you had Def Jam make a game, who's on the roster now? Like
Two
you
chains, maybe. That's
like
it.
and that's what I'm saying. Like there's no one on the roster anymore. You almost have to.
It has to be an independent creator. It has to be like an indie game that somebody
Yeah.
does out of love, and they have to adopt an engine from an existing game that fits the parameters of a Def Jam game, and model it after that. Obviously, not use the brand Def Jam because of copyright issues. Name it something else, and then they'd be able to put, anybody they wanted in there. And honestly, I think that would be the coolest is if you had it where you put obviously the regular headline of all these people from the previous games, but then you also allow people a very robust character creator to make their own,
Yeah.
like you could make Dakota, you could make Denku, you could make your own. Like that would be dope. I
That would
think
be insane.
everybody would love that.
And the graphics nowadays, this should be insane, son.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think that's the only way that happens is it's got to be like an independent
Yeah.
act of love.
For
Well,
sure.
Pestilence had mentioned it. Dakota, I was just out there. I only ate diner food, bro. Best fucking food spot in Minot.
A lot of people will say Ebenezer's. That's always a classic. It's an Irish pub downtown. Very classic kind of feel. They got the Fat Frog, which is kind of legendary. It's just on a hoagie. You got chicken strip, mozzarella sticks with Irish fries. Their ebb sauce, which is you know that's a legendary spot. I'm a classic guy, so the diner, Shots Diner, is my always been my go-to. Been going there since I was a kid. It's just diner food, but it has this feel and just nostalgia for me. So I'm always gonna love that. We have like I said, we're very diverse in our melting pot because of the oil field and all that. So we have really dope Mexican spots, incredible food, Magic City hoagies. They Christine down there making all these crazy ass sandwiches. There's a lot of really dope spots in Minot for food.
I ate at Rocky's too. Steak
Yeah,
burgers.
yeah, that place is that place is a little bit newer, but what I really appreciate about, I love a good steak burger, you know, a little bit better than just, you know, regular ground beef or whatever the fuck. But every month they always, they kick back to the community, so they're really big on, you know, a portion of the monthly you know, income that they make, they pick a new like cause to in community oriented to donate to. So I'm big on Rockies doing that stuff. Shout out to them for sure.
That's what's up. Pest, you know what time it is, right? You know what you got to ask
Well,
me.
yeah, but first I gotta say, Denku, you always be like kind of low key hating on the diners, and some
Bro,
of the
what are you talking
best
about?
food we've ever had.
I just ate at a diner in my
I
ass.
know what you said, but you kind of said it. You're like, I only ate at diners, so what are the best places for food? Implying that it couldn't have been the diners you ate at. And then the best food we had on the whole tour was the diner that you were like, we almost didn't go there because you're like, I don't want to go to a diner. It was the only place that was open.
That was not the best food on the whole tour for me. That might have been the best food on the whole tour for you. I'm saying that diner spot we ate at was fire. It was very good. It was very amazing, but it was not the best food on tour, bro. Stop it right now.
What was the best?
Bro, I loved the lobster shit, son. I'm a lobster fanatic.
Okay, that's fair. That's a fair choice. I thought you were just gonna say it wasn't the best and then not have something to be like, oh, there was plenty of places, and I
Bro,
was
that
gonna call
lobster
you out for
spot,
that.
the fucking
Especially if
trio,
you said
son,
fucking
the
Alexander's,
trio,
that fucking
bro,
piece of shit taco place.
Bro, the lobster trio. Actually, you know what? Even the spot we played in what the fuck?
The one with the screens that was casting the show had like one of the best chicken sandwiches I've had in my
That's what I'm
life.
saying. That's what I'm talking
That
about.
place was good.
In Portsmouth, New Hampshire, that spot.
Yes, that place had
That was also the
excellent
most
food.
stairs I've ever carried my gigantic merch bin up, and it was a circle staircase.
Yeah, that sucked. But anyway, this is the CyphaDen chat. We always ask everybody to end out the fucking chat. And it actually got kicked off. The first person to actually take us up on this and have the fucking huevos to drop a freestyle for us was the legendary actor Keith Coogan, not even a rapper. And we've since had rappers take us up on it, and we've had rappers shut us down on it. But would you, Dakotah, bless us with a little freestyle on this fine evening?
Well, I ain't much of a freestyler, but you know, I feel like
It could be a cold verse. It doesn't have to be.
It could be a cold. Yeah, it could be a cold. Well,
verse.
just something.
All right, yeah. You just wanted acapella?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. You know, just for the pests and Denku, I gotta kick a little something. I'll kick a little 16. All right, I got you.
Dope.
All right. Frankly, life is like an ocean. Hope you swim good. I used to paddle out to see if life was meant for me, but now I'm floating on the water like a bird would. See, only here just for the moment. Then I'm taking off emotion, taking off with some fishes in my talents. With a talent when you want it and you know that you can have it. Break you off a piece of bread just to go and make a sandwich, because the only crumbs I use are ones I put into my salad. Ain't no ducking me. Luckily, most of y'all don't fuck with me. I hug the key and lock it all down until you under sea. Bitch, I'll break the mold, and now you under siege. Never had a father, motherfucker, you ain't son of me. These tips are filled with hollows, clips inside a bottle, hard pill to swallow, hard act to follow. This life on 7 seas was meant to be with compass arrows. Haven't reached a Johnny Depp, you're looking at your Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
I love it.
Hell yeah.
Little something.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. Before we let you get out of here, though, bro, I need to hear one crazy tour story from you and Sean Anonymous's tour.
Okay. I don't even. Okay. Okay. Let me think. There's one I got, but I don't think I can tell it because I can't put Sean's business out there like that. Let me think of one that's a little bit. The first one that came to mind. But all right, I'm fired. Fuck it. So the very first show. This is like, I've never met Sean before. Like we did that song together. Like mutual. You know, I've known Sean because I'm a student of the scene, especially up here in Minneapolis. You know, that's the closest like hub to us. So Sean, legendary, doing music with, Lizzo and all these other people back in the day. So Sean is always somebody that I've very much so admired and looked up to. So he reached out to me last year and wanted to get a track done. We got a track, and then he was like, yo, we should do a fucking tour. And I'm like, okay. So I fucking booked as much as I could, and we went on the road. So the very first show that we did was Duluth, Minnesota, and we played shout out to Jesse J's, DJ friend of ours. He set up this. he set up this event with all these dope DJs, and we kind of had a guest spot, kind of like the phone party shit. Um, and it was at this really cool spot, kind of lounge spot. But very first time I met him, and we're in there, and he's telling me about he has this stalker. It's like this legendary like girl that has been stalking him forever, and he crazy stories I won't tell that part. But very first time I met him, and he's like terrified. It's like, I think this girl's outside or whatever. Like, I bro. And then we played the Minneapolis show. It was just like this person, this like I never saw her, because I never actually got to see her, but this constant person, like following like a monster in the shadows at every show. Like, this person might pop out at any moment and fucking, and I was terrified for him. I was like, listen, man, you might want to stand back like 6 feet. I don't want to, I don't want to be too close when this person gets in there. But so the first first tour I do with this guy, and we have this like this looming shadow over us the whole time. But we got to rock through it and play all these amazing shows. And he's a special dude. Getting to hang out with somebody that I respect like that, and then be really cool and really warm and welcoming, and giving me advice and just taking me under his wing. I was very lucky in that. And then, so to be able to call him a friend now is really cool. So starting off from the first time I ever met him, and his stalker, all his baggage with him. But it was a hell of a tour and a good time.
That's what's up, man. All right, pass one last question, and then yeah.
Fuck.
I threw him off. He wasn't prepared.
I was gonna say favorite, your biggest inspiration in hip hop, as like other artists that inspires you the most.
It was definitely 50 Cent when I was a kid. Like, so me and Eddie, like, I'll tell you a dope story about kind of before I actually made music. Like, so before I actually did this first song with Eddie, we big video game heads, both, that's what we kind of, played San Andreas, but we also used to play 50 Cent's Bulletproof. I don't know if y'all know about this game.
Bro, I've never
Oh,
played
yeah.
the game. I've never played the game.
Very subpar game, but
Very bad. Yeah.
very bad. The aim, there's no like the
Very
aim
funny though.
terrible.
Very funny.
Very funny. Eminem's like the crooked cop in it. It's got all the G Unit guys in it, but you can unlock the instrumental versions of all of 50 Cent's music, G Unit's music, all that shit. So we would be playing this game, and we would just freestyle to the instrumentals that were on 50 Cent Bulletproof. That was kind of really where I got my feet wet before I started actually writing lyrics. It was all those nights. So 50 Cent was a huge inspiration for us. So when we first started actually rapping, and we were like, what is our record label going to be? What would it be? It was Money Stacks Entertainment. It was this everything that we thought hip hop was and represented and stuff. And that meaning has changed over the years, but we still rep Money Stacks. And yeah, a huge inspiration for that was 50 Cent. I always wanted to be that confident and that big. He is the greatest troll of trolls, and I always aspire to have that level of pettiness that 50 Cent does. So I skipped school to see Get Rich or Die Trying. That was like one of the first movies I saw boobs in, man. So 50 Cent, that's the GOAT, man. That's the GOAT.
You think he's gonna respond to the Dave Blunt's diss?
He will in a very 50 Cent way, which will probably be just an incredibly awesome, funny Instagram post if I had to take a guess.
Word up, man. Dakotah, let them know where they can find you at, and tell them what you got coming up next, bro.
Well, Dakotah Faye, that's Dakotah Faye. You can go to dakotahfaye.com. I'm Dakotah Faye on all platforms. I'm on all the streaming sites, all of that good stuff. I got quite a catalog. I've been doing this for a long time. So if you want to check out hip hop shit, I've also delved into more pop stuff, a little bit of singing. I'm a big fan of versatility and trying new shit. So if you like that stuff, go find me. As for stuff that I got coming up, I'm going on tour next month. We're doing North Dakota, going to Sioux City, going back to Kansas City, and then I'm going down to Arizona, which always show love there. And then I'm taking a couple months off. My wife and my Eddie are making me so I could write some music. And it's hard booking shit up here in the winter anyway. You never know if you're gonna be able to fucking leave. So try to work on some new music, and then hopefully go hard next year. And just keep working, just grindstone and room for improvement and try to sharpen the tools in the toolbox.
I feel that, man. Well, maybe when you get your off time going on, maybe we'll have to venture and get a joint in, man. It's, you know, I've known you for some years.
Yeah, man.
Might be a thing. Might be a thing. Maybe the homie Pester get on it.
Yeah,
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Got to now.
But yeah, man. So this has been the CyphaDen chat, inspired and put on by CyphaDen Music, where we inspire even those higher. And remember to never stop chasing your dreams, because you will never know what you are fully capable of. I'm your host, Tayamu Danku. That's my homie Pestilence, or tonight, Pest Caddy. Bro, what the fuck's
bro, you didn't see the fucking shirt I was wearing, bro. I can't believe. Hang on a second. I'll show you why that was the name. I'm fucking dude.
Oh, man.
Thank you. I got the fucking, the little fucking Cape Fear going on, brother.
I see it. Okay.
Yeah.
La, 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 la.
Oh, man. And tonight we had special guest all the way from Minot, North Dakota, the homie Dakotah Faye in the motherfucking building. It's been a beautiful, great evening of dope conversations and all that greatness. And like I said, man, we'll be in touch soon. I'll let you know when the podcast drops. Should be posted. We'll probably catch a clip and all that greatness, and we will be in touch. I'm serious about that collab shit. It's going to happen, bro.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to do it.
All right, until next time, man, you stay up.
Yes, sir.
All right. Peace.